its formation and change.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure attending and seeing you people after a long time. I've been missing you. I come to school and I find the school vacant. I really feel very sad. I wish things improve and we are able to meet physically also, not just virtually on Zoom. All right, all the best. So let's start. I think Krishna, I think
yes.
we can start.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. From intriguing optical illusions to interestingly shocking experiments, there is always something fascinating in studying psychology. Isn't it sometimes perplexing to understand the mind, behavior, and attitude of people in our social circle? Is it the behavior that influences attitude, or the attitude influences the behavior? So without any delay, let me invite Syed, who will further guide us on the topic. Over to you, Syed.
Syed, unmute yourself, beta.
Good morning, Principal Ma'am, my teacher, and all my dear friends. I'm Syed Raza of Class 12 Humanities, and today I represent my topic in front of you. My topic is social behavior. What is social behavior? Social behavior, it is a necessary part of a human life, and it is associated with society. Social behavior means behavior of a one person affected to the others. Means कि जो हमारा social behavior है, ये human life का एक necessary part है, जो हमारे environment और society से associate करता है, और हमारा behavior हमारे environment के लोगों पे क्या प्रति करता है, मतलब हमारे friends, हमारी families पे क्या हमारा effect behavior क्या डालता है. For example, shaking hand or conversation, etc. To date, some psychologists examine various forms of social behavior and try to explain their basis, because there are many forms of behavioral tendency like social influences, people from views, and attitude. So my next point is attitude. This is very main topic of my attitude. Means the way that you think, feel and behave. मतलब कि हम लोग क्या सोचते हैं, कैसा फील करते हैं और फिर कैसा बिहेव करते हैं, ये चीजें हमारे एटीट्यूड का एक हिस्सा होती हैं. आज की डेट में अगर हम सोसाइटी के हिसाब से एटीट्यूड वर्ड को देखें, तो आज की डेट में एटीट्यूड वर्ड एक नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट बन गया है. जब भी हम एटीट्यूड का नाम लेते हैं तो सबसे पहले लोगों के दिमाग में आता है एट, कोई नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट. लेकिन ये साइकोलॉजी का सब्जेक्ट है, इसलिए मैं साइकोलॉजी की भी डेफिनेशन बता देता हूँ. इन साइकोलॉजी, एटीट्यूड मींस द इमोशनल एंड मेंटल आइडेंटिटी विच कैरेक्टराइज अ पर्सन. मतलब कि हमारी इमोशनल और मेंटल आइडेंटिटीज हैं जो हमें कैरेक्टराइज करती हैं, हमारी पर्सनालिटी को लोगों के सामने प्रेजेंट करती हैं. सो माय नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज impression formation. When we meet a person, we make inferences about their personal qualities. मतलब कि जब भी हम किसी इंसान से मिलते हैं तो उसकी क्वालिटीज के बारे में जानने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसके बारे में एक ओपिनियन बना लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल कि जब कृष्णा मैम नई नई आई थी स्कूल में, तो हम लोगों ने एक ओपिनियन बना लिया था उनके बारे में कि हाँ, हमारी नई टीचर ऐसी होंगी, शायद वो पहली टीचर से ऐसे पढ़ाएं और हम लोग इतना अच्छा ग्रेड पहले करते थे तो शायद हम अच्छा करें उनसे. ये होता है एक इम्प्रेशन फॉर्मेशन. फिर आता है एट्रीब्यूशन. टुडे we also interested to know why people behave in this way they do, because we assign to the specific behavior to the specific social situation. मतलब आज भी हमारी दुनिया जानना चाहती कि अगर ये इंसान ऐसा बिहेव कर रहा है तो क्यों कर रहा है, पर वो नहीं जानती कि अगर वो ऐसा बिहेव कर रहा है तो वो अपनी पर्टिकुलर अपनी सिचुएशन की वजह से कर रहा है, क्योंकि उसकी सिचुएशन उसके बिहेवियर के साथ एसोसिएट करती है, तभी वो ऐसा बिहेव करता है लोगों के सामने. So these three processes are the example of mental activity which along with the integration about the information of social world. These are collectively called social cognitions. They are activated by the cognitive units called schemas, and schemas are held to describe the pattern of thought and behavior. So this topic is over. My next topic is nature and components of attitude. What is attitude? Nature. Attitude are a complex combination of things that we tend to call a personality, beliefs, values, and behavior, which have an evaluating features and are also accompanied by the emotional components and a tendency to act in a particular way with regard to the attitude object. There are three components of attitude which represent in the ABC model: A, affective; B, behavioral; and C, cognitive. Thought component is referred to as cognitive. The emotional component is referred to as affective, or the tendency of the act is referred to as behavior. These attitudes are themselves, they are the part of cognition along with the emotional component, and they cannot be preserved from outside. There are four significant features of attitude. There are valence, extremeness, simplicity and complexity, and centrality. The valence of the attitude is tell us whether an attitude is positive or negative towards the attitude object. There are 5 points in this. Number 1, very bad. Number 2, bad. 3, neither good or bad. 4, good. And 5, very good. For example, I rate my view to the nuclear research, and my view rate as 4 to 5. So my view is good. That means I like this idea and something is good. When I, other hand, I rate my view as 1 or 2, so my attitude is negative. This means I dislike this idea and that something is bad. Next point is extremeness. Extremeness indicate my attitude how positive or negative. मतलब ये जो एक्सट्रीमनेस होती है वो बताती कि हमारा जो एटीट्यूड है वो कितने हद तक पॉजिटिव है और कितनी हद तक नेगेटिव है. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मैं न्यूक्लियर रिसर्च की बात करूं और मेरा एटीट्यूड की जो रेट होती है वो 5 तक जाती है, तो मेरा जो एटीट्यूड है वो हाई एक्सट्रीम पे है. और अगर मेरी रेटिंग 2 to 4 पे आती है तो मतलब मेरा एटीट्यूड लेस एक्सट्रीम है. थर्ड टॉपिक, सिंप्लिसिटी एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी. सिंप्लिसिटी सिंप्लिसिटी एक उस टाइप का ऑब्जेक्ट है कि सिंप्लिसिटी कुछ ही एस्पेक्ट से लेकर बनती है, और एक इंसान की अगर हम सिंप्लिसिटी की बात करें तो उसमें कुछ ही तरह के एटीट्यूड्स होते हैं. कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बहुत सारे एक्सपेक्ट्स को लेके बनती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मैं एक इंसान से पूछूं कि आपका वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के ऊपर क्या है, अगर वो सिंप्लिसिटी का इंसान है तो वो कहेगा कि हम वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के लिए ये कर सकते हैं कि हम वुमेन्स के लिए कैंप्स लगा सकते हैं, उनको सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, उन्हें अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. लेकिन अगर मैं कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के इंसान से पूछूं कि आपका वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के ऊपर क्या पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है, तो वो कहेंगे कि हम लोग कैंप्स लगा सकते हैं, उनको अपॉर्चुनिटीज प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर हम वुमेन्स को सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज देंगे, उनके लिए कैंप लगाएंगे, तो मेंस के लिए शायद कहीं ना कहीं जगह कम हो जाएगी. इसका मतलब कि वो लोग थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स सोचते हैं और सिंप्लिसिटी से थोड़ा ऊपर होते हैं. फिर आता है सेंट्रलिटी. सेंट्रलिटी मीन कि एक इंसान के अंदर बहुत तरह के बिहेवियर होते हैं, लेकिन उसका एक बिहेवियर ऐसा होता है जो उसके बाकी बिहेवियर पे प्रभाव डालता है, और उसी बिहेवियर की वजह से वो दूसरे लोगों को अट्रैक्ट करता है और अपनी बातों से इन्फ्लुएंस कर लेता है. सो माय टॉपिक इज एंड. आई इनवाइट साक्षी सिंह to present his topic in front of you. Thank you.
Yes, Sakshi.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sakshi Singh, and I am going to explain attitude formation and the factors which affect attitude formation. So, how attitude is formed? Is this screen sharing is visible?
No, Sakshi, we can't see. Yes, now we can see you.
Ma'am, may you see my PPT?
Yes. No, beta, I can't see you. See your PPT. Never
Ma'am,
mind.
I am having a problem in showing that.
No issue, beta.
I
You
can't
can
share.
continue. You can continue with your topic. No issue.
Okay, ma'am. Just a second.
Sakshi, you continue better. We could see you, and I think she's tried to display something which got really messed up.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Sakshi, you
think
can.
she because I. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so, like other concepts and thoughts in our cognitive system, attitude is also formed through social interaction. And there are, however, there are some specific condition in which our attitude is formed. So, mainly, attitude is learned through one's own experiences and social interaction. For example, there is an individual and he is kind of nature lover, but somehow some mishappening and he lost his near and dear ones in a natural disaster. Then his attitude towards the nature will shift from a positive to negative side. Now, and some studies are also conducted regarding this, and they show that in our attitude is indirectly influenced with genetic factors. Like each and every individual have a different attitude, and this is because of the inborn aspects of attitude. Now we can move further to learn more about the processes of attitude formation. So the first one is learning attitude by association. Like you have seen, many students like a particular subject teacher, and then they develop the same liking for the subject too. This happens because they link the positive qualities of their teacher with the subject. So we can conclude that positive association between a teacher and student led to formation of positive attitude towards subject. Now the second one is learning attitude by being rewarded or punished. Is being rewarded for a particular behavior, then chances are greater than he or she will learn that attitude. For example, if there is a teenager girl and she is in she is in habit of practicing yoga each and every day, and she is being praised for that, then it is more likely then it's common that she will develop the positive attitude towards yoga. And similarly, if there is a boy and he eats a lots of junk food and he got ill, then he will develop a negative attitude towards junk food. The third point is learning attitude through modeling. Modeling means observing behavior. Attitude is mainly learned by observing others being praised or punished for a particular act, and for expressing their ideas or for expressing their ideas, and it is the most important aspect of attitude formation. Now comes learning attitude through group or cultural norms. Uh, Norms can be defined as the unwritten rules about the behavior, and they become a part of our social cognition in form of attitudes. And it's a kind of combination of all three learning attitudes, because our attitude is always positive towards socially accepted behavior. For example, people tend to show that behavior only which is socially acceptable. For example, feeding poor or indulging in some social work. Now comes learning attitude through exposure to information. Many attitudes are learned in social contexts, and medias play an important role. For this, physical presence is not a necessity. For example, when an individual reads a biography of a self-actualized person, then his attitude towards hard work and goal achievement becomes positive. Now we will move towards the factors influencing attitude formation. The first one is family and school environment. uh, when an individual is in the early stage of his lifetime, then their parents play a significant role in attitude formation, and later on school environments becomes an important background. This is because we spend half of our day in schools. Usually, it takes place by association or through reward or modeling. Now, the second point is reference groups. They indicate the societal norms to the individual, and this reflect learning attitude through group or cultural norms. And its influence can be highly noticeable in the early periods of adolescence, because at that time, we adolescents are more like we are more to join a group or something like that. Now comes the personal experiences. This is the most important aspect because it brings a drastic change in attitude towards our life towards our life and the view and the way we perceive our life. And so for example, and it can be easily appreciated from a real life example. For there was a military driver, and on one mission all his companions were died, and he somehow managed to get out of this situation. Then he get to think about the sole purpose of his life, and then he resigned his job and came back to his native place, Maharashtra, and there he emerged as a community leader. So we can say that through personal experiences, he evolved a positive attitude towards community upliftment. Now the last point is media-related influences. Nowadays, due to technology advancement, audiovisual media and internet has become a part of our life, and we and it has a greater influence over our attitude too. It has both positive and negative impact on our attitude as well as our behavior. And but the main part is that it is widely used to create the consumerist attitude. That means propagating positive aspects of a particular product, so that the customers can link the those positive qualities with their attitude, and in this way their sales can be increased. Thank you. Now I request Manvi to carry on.
Thank you, Sakshi, for having me over. Okay, so till now, I hope everything is clear to you all. Let me now proceed with our next topic, attitude change. Kindly allow me to share the screen.
It's already allowed, Bita. You can share.
Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Yes. So very good afternoon to everyone. We have our next topic, attitude change. That is how attitude changes. And here we are going to discuss about three main concepts. So before that, let me just give a brief introduction. Attitudes are modifiable and changeable by nature. Attitudes that are still in formative stage, they are more likely to change than those attitudes which are firmly established in and becomes a part of an individual's values. So in today's world, we see community leaders, politicians, producers, all of them, they basically concentrate on how to change the attitude of people in their social circle. So moving on, we have process of attitude change. Number one, we will discuss about balance theory. Balance theory was given by Fritz Hayter. Actually, he proposed, just a second, he proposed this triangle, concept of this POX triangle, where P represents the person whose attitude is being studied, O is another person, and X is the attitude itself. Now, an attitude changes if there is a state of imbalance between PO, OX, or PX relationship. What is this imbalance? This imbalance is a kind of mental discomfort that makes you feel something is wrong in the attitude system. Now let's see how imbalance and balance occurs according to this POX triangle relationship. So imbalance will occur, as you can see in the slide itself, when all three sides are negative, or when two sides are positive and one side is negative. Balance will occur if all three sides are positive or one side is positive and two sides are negative. I hope you must be confused. Now let me illustrate an example. Okay, so here as you can see in the screen, let this P be a child and O is the father and X the attitude towards a subject called psychology. Now this child has a very positive regard towards psychology. This means PX relationship is positive. Whereas the father disapproves of psychology. That means OX is a negative relationship. However, child and father are in a positive relationship. That means PO is positive. Now, this clearly states that this is an imbalanced situation. How to balance it? We can balance it according to the balance theory. Either the child can develop a dislike for the subject called psychology, or instead the father can approve of his child's decisions and he can also start liking psychology. In this way, we can create a balance between the two. So this was the balance theory. Moving on to next theory, we have cognitive dissonance. Okay, so cognitive dissonance was given by Leon Festinger. Leon Festinger was a social psychologist and he basically emphasized the idea of cognitive component. According to him, our cognitive components of an attitude, they must be in line with each other, they must be in a sync that is following each other, and if they are not, they must be brought in like that. So let me give you an example. Say for example, we have cognition 1, which says seeing too much TV reduces our attention span. However, cognition 2 is in favor of watching television. So holding these two cognitions together will make an individual feel really puzzled and feel something is out of tune. So in order to remove this dissonance, we will change cognition 2 in favor of cognition 1. That is, I'll stop watching TV because it reduces my attention span. This is a most sensible way of reducing our dissonance. Now, last but not the least, we have the two concept theory given by S.M. Mohsen. He was an Indian psychologist. His theory was very simple. It is as follows. Actually, he gave two steps. Number one was identification. Now here we need to understand that there are two persons. One is the target itself, whose attitude is being changed, and one is the source. Now the target of change identifies the source, develops a liking for him or her, a kind of regard, and he places himself in place of that source. Also, the source must also have a positive attitude towards the target. And in this way, a kind of rapport building is done between the two. Now the second step comes. The source himself or herself shows an attitude change, a kind of behavior change, and the target follows in the footsteps of that source. So this is, you can say this is a kind of imitation or observational learning. Let me give you an example. Now here we have a girl called Preeti, and Preeti is addicted to, she likes drinking a soft drink, which is, she also knows that it is extremely harmful for her health. However, why she is drinking it? Because she sees her favorite sports person, say MS Dhoni, advertising it. And now, if by chance that same sports person, MS Dhoni, starts negatively advertising that soft drink, stating its harmful consequences on health, Preeti is surely to change her behavior and attitude towards the drink. Why? Because she has a positive regard for that sport person. And therefore, following in his footsteps, she will also change her behavior. So by now, we complete our process of attitude change. Now, so change your attitude and change your life. Now we shall move to our next topic. Yes. So this is it. Factors that influence attitude change. What are those factors that suddenly changes your attitude? You were a peaceful person just a minute before and now you are different. So what's that thing? Let us discuss factors. We will be discussing 4 factors: characteristics of existing attitude, source characteristics, message characteristics, and target characteristics. Okay, so here we have characteristics of existing attitude. In the very beginning of this whole webinar, Syed very well explained the 4 properties of attitude: the valence, extremeness, simplicity, complexity, centrality, etc. And actually, these 4 factors determine our attitude change. One must also consider the direction and extent of attitude change. An attitude change takes place in 2 directions. One is congruent in the sense that it may be changed in the same direction as the existing attitude. The second one is that it can be incongruent. That is, it may change in the direction opposite to the existing attitude. Let us understand it by this example. Okay, so here you can see a girl brushing her teeth. Okay, so example is stated as follows. The poster describing the importance of brushing one's teeth would strengthen a positive attitude towards dental care. But if people are shown frightening images of dental cavities, they may not believe in the pictures and may become less positive about dental care. So this was the first factor we discussed. Now we have source characteristics. Credibility and attractiveness. These are another essential features that affect our attitude change. The more credible source you give, the more it will help in changing the attitude. Say, for example, a school student wants to buy a laptop. So will he be convinced by a computer engineer that whether this laptop is good, this Lenovo laptop is good or not, or he will be actually more convinced by a schoolboy, that of his age only, who will convince that, see my friend, this is very good laptop and you need to purchase it, it's very good. So you'll be more convinced by that. So this shows the credibility aspect and attractiveness as well. So here's the example. If an adult wants to buy a smartphone, she will be more convinced if the adult points out its features in an advertisement rather than a school-going child. Just an opposite example. But if the buyer himself is a child, then he will be more convinced by the advertisement. So this was the example stated here. Now moving on to next, we have message characteristics. So message is the information that is presented in order to bring about an attitude change. The more attractively you present a message to anything, the more people become attracted to buy that thing or, change your attitude regarding that thing. So attitudes will change when the amount of information that is given about the topic is just enough, neither too much nor too little, nor too boasting and neither too limiting it. Whether the message contains a rational or an emotional appeal, that also makes a difference. Now, I'm sure you all must have watched advertisement on TV regarding LPG, ki ghar mein khushiyan laiye, and this all, the way they express themselves, ki emotional appeal they put forward, that attracts some people. On the other hand, when they speak rationally, ki, see, this is the benefit of using LPG, these are the consequences, that also attracts the other customers. So we have to see accordingly. Motives also play a great role. The motive activated by the message also determines attitude change. And the mode, the way you spread those messages, that also plays a very, very important role in changing the attitude. Now, last we have target characteristics. Target characteristics such as persuasibility, strong prejudice, self-esteem, and intelligence influence the likelihood and extent of an attitude change. People who have a more open and flexible personality change more easily. This is very true. In case, if you say, if I want to advertise my product and I go to a village and speak very softly, very kindly to them, and those people have a very open and flexible personality, they won't argue with me much, and they will easily purchase my thing, whatever I'm trying to convince them. However, if I approach an IITian or say a very intellectual personality, he will cross-question me at least 10 times before buying that thing. So there is a difference. And now, sorry. Just a second.
We've got 6 minutes left, Manvi.
Yes, ma'am, just a minute. I think something went wrong. Current slide visual. Yes, shit. It's not working.
It's okay, you can complete it like that also.
Current slide. Tick, tick, over It's not working.
So you can वहाँ से खोलो ना
Ma'am,
desktop
please
से.
allow me to share the screen again. Just a second, ma'am.
वहाँ से कर desktop से.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm wasting all of your time. Just a minute. And here we go. Now we shall discuss about attitude behavior relationship. In the starting of the slide, this webinar, I asked you all whether it's behavior that influences the attitude or it's the attitude doing the same thing. So let's discuss this attitude behavior relationship. Yes. So psychologists have found that the consistency between sometimes it is attitude that influences behavior and the other time it is the behavior that influences the attitude. So how can we determine the consistency between the two? So there are following parameters by which we can judge it. Number one is that if the attitude is strong and occupies a central place in the attitude system. Second, if the person is aware of his or her attitude. Third, if there is very little or no external pressure from other people to behave in a particular way. Say, for example, Sakshi was explaining to you all the norms, the importance of how norms play a very important role. So if I have no particular pressure to do something in a particular way, I'll be more naturally reflecting out my attitude. The fourth aspect is the person's behavior is not being watched or evaluated by others. You are free to do what you want. And fifth is the person thinks that the behavior would have a positive consequence and therefore intends to engage in that behavior. Now, let me introduce our Stanford psychologist, Richard Lapere. He conducted an experiment and I would like to share that experiment with you all. So Richard Lapere actually at that time in America, all Americans were strangely prejudiced against the Chinese. So none of them wanted to cater to any needs of Chinese people around them. They even don't wanted to see their faces. So he conducted an experiment and he asked a Chinese couple to travel across the United States and stay in different hotels. Only what he found that only once during these occasions did any of the hotel manager refused service to them. However, on being asked again by Lapere to individually to all the hotel managers whether they would certainly allow any Chinese couple to stay there, all of them refused to it. However, it was very contradicting that they allowed the Chinese couple to stay there. Okay, so let me clear this. This was the stats actually, which is visible to you all. And here's another simple example if this was not clear. For example, in days when high caste were prejudiced against the lower caste, they didn't consider them good at all. So a low caste family came on the rent of high caste family without letting them know that they were actually from the low caste background. So once few people asked these high caste families whether they would actually allow someone who belonged to the low caste to stay in their house. At that time, surprisingly, high caste people simply said never ever, although they allowed the low caste family to stay there. However, their identity was not disclosed. So this response basically showed the negative response towards lower caste, which was inconsistent with the positive behavior that was actually shown towards the rented lower caste. Thus, attitudes may not always predict actual pattern of one's behavior. So by here, I end my presentation. Over to you, Syed.
Now I request our Honorable Principal Ma'am to kindly say few words.
Oh, thank you so much. And children, my only little concern is there are very few children who have attended this webinar. So much of effort has been made. I think Sakshi also had a presentation to give. It got a little messed up. Manvi has worked so hard and made so many slides. It must have taken her hours to make such a presentation. But very well informative, and people, laymen like me also could understand. We know the words, we know the things, but to be able to get deeper into it, thanks for enriching our knowledge also, my knowledge and those teachers who are there already. Very good effort, keep it up. And but more children should attend to be able to imbibe and learn from others. That would be good. So well done, Krishna. Congratulations to you for having guided your students so well. All the
Thank you.
very best once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we really are obliged with your presence and a good
No,
motivation
no, please,
for all.
it is my children, my school, my teachers. I love all of you so much. I really want to be with you all. It's because it's been so long, and I've seen these children growing up from, I think, class 1 or 2 or 3.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for encouraging our humble efforts. I
Thank you,
think
ma'am.
the credit
Thank you,
goes
ma'am.
to teachers and you all for allowing us to
No,
use our
yes.
creative spirits.
Definitely, we all are indebted to our teachers, because without teachers, we would not have been what we are. So good, all three of you did a good job, but more students should participate. This is an opportunity which is given, and many more students should participate. Even if it's a small presentation, small write-up, or small little words to say, but then you should all participate.